Hey there, internet friends. Welcome to another episode of That D Plus Show. Class is in session for the only show from that nerdy site that lets you know what kind of quality to expect right from the name. I'm your host, Trevor Starkey, and each week we dive into a different Disney Plus offering and discuss its history, how it holds up today, and our general impressions of the thing. If you like the show, we'd love it if you like, subscribe, rate, review, share the podcast with your friends, ring notification bells, all that fun stuff that helps the algorithms. Joining me today, we have nobody, because even though we've been talking about doing this Pixar month for a month now, apparently everybody kind of flaked on me. So it's just going to be me talking about Turning Red today. As I said, picked this because for the rest of April, we're going to be doing Pixar movies, doing Turning Red this week, then Luca. And we're going to go back to kind of the early days of Pixar with A Bug's Life and Monsters, Inc. And yeah, I watched this. I know a couple other members of the team have also watched this, but when I put the call out to be like, hey, who's recording with me? Anybody recording with me? Crickets. Except Frank, who said, sorry, I'm busy, I can't. So thank you, Frank, for at least responding. And everybody else, dead to me. But we're going to make do. I'll go through kind of the normal rigmarole of that D Plus show for this episode. It's just going to be, maybe a little bit on the shorter side here. The history lesson here, originally released here March 11th, 2022, just about a month ago. Other releases of the time include Uncharted, that had come out February 18th, Cyrano, which I really enjoyed, came out February 25th, The Batman on March 4th, The Atom Project, also on March 11th, over on Netflix, The Lost City, with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, came out March 25th, as did Everything Everywhere All at Once. Morbius here in April just came out, and as of today, effectively, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, April 8th, came out, as of, the day that this episode is going live. Turning Red has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes. In the Pixar timeline of things, we had Soul kicking off the Disney Plus launch era, December 25th, 2020. Followed up by Luca, again, which we will discuss next week. That came out June 18th, 2021. And Turning Red here in March 11th, 2022. Originally planned for a theatrical release, but one of I believe the Omicron variant kind of flared up, and Disney basically were like, oh, okay, we're just going to keep doing the Pixar straight to Disney Plus model with Turning Red. Lightyear is the next one up on the docket, slated for June 17th, 2022. And as of me saying these words and recording them, that is still slated for an actual proper theatrical release. We'll see if that happens. Who knows? Roll call, the who's who of the film. We have the director, Domi Shi, best known for her work on Bao, the Pixar short from a few years back that won an Oscar. She's also the storyboard artist for films like Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, Incredibles 2, and Toy Story 4. She also wrote Turning Red here, which kind of echoes that she had written Bao prior to that. She wrote the story and the screenplay for this, alongside Julia Cho on story and screenplay, who's primarily a TV writer, having written episodes of the series Fringe, Big Love, Betrayal, and Halt and Catch Fire. 2 to 3 episodes kind of on each of those. And Sarah Stryker also worked on the story as one of the writers here. So a fully female led directorial and writer team. Sarah Stryker had previously written on Daredevil as well as The Wilds. Starring Rosalie Chiang as Mei Lin in a breakout role for her. Sandra Oh playing Ming, best known from projects like Under the Tuscan Sun, Sideways, Grey's Anatomy, Killing Eve, last year's Raya and the Last Dragon, and she can currently be heard in Amazon Prime's Invincible as Mark's mom. So shout out to Sandra Oh there. Ava Morse playing Miriam. She had a role in Ron's Gone Wrong. Came out last year. High-End Park is Abby. She is primarily a storyboard artist for Pixar, having worked on Bao, Toy Story 4, and Soul. Maitreyi Ramakrishnan playing Priya is in the series Never Have I Ever. She's also been in a few My Little Pony shorts. I think one or two that have released, and then like one or two that are in the future in production. Ryan Lee playing Jin. Lots of little like smaller roles in films, including Skyfall, Justice League, Last Jedi, First Cow. Well, I can't speak to if his role was a small one in First Cow. I don't know that one. And then he was also in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Wai Chin Ho playing the grandma. Probably best known for her work as Madame Gao in the Netflix Marvel stuff, which now you can see on Disney Plus as well. And lastly, James Hong as Mr. Gao, storied career, going back to films like Big Trouble in Little China, Balls of Fury, Kung Fu Panda, R.I.P.D., and most recently we discussed him when he popped up in Star Wars Visions last year. Then now, lastly, we have Four Town, the five-person boy band featuring kind of main Robert Jordan Fisher, best known from Broadway as well as To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. Phineas O'Connell as Jesse, musician and producer with sister Billie Eilish. Topher Go playing Aaron T. Doesn't really have a ton of credits to him, so apologies for that. Same with Grayson Villanueva playing Tae Young. And then lastly, Josh Levi playing Aaron Z was on Friday Night Lights a number of years ago. So shout out to that. A little bit of trivia. As this is a Pixar film, we of course have many, many Pixar staples in the cameo / Easter egg world. The Pixar Luxo Ball can be seen in the pool during Tyler's party. A113, iconic Cal Arts classroom, appears twice in the movie. Once as the when the line marker is being used by Jin Lee, it is labeled Professional Model A113, and A113 also appears as a seat number on a ticket for a Four Town concert shown during the credits. In the tradition of hiding Easter eggs for the future release, Miriam's skateboard has stickers of Buzz Lightyear's logo as well as Socks the Cat, which are references to the upcoming Lightyear film. The Pizza Planet truck can be seen as May runs into the Sky Dome when she's kind of running down Toronto. And as has been the case the last few Pixar films, basically starting with, I would say, Soul, even though they credit him with a visual cameo in it. John Ratzenberger, who was kind of the long-running good luck charm for Pixar films with little cameos, vocal performances in every single one of them, from Toy Story up through Onward, I guess would have been the last one he actually appeared in. The lack of John Ratzenberger cameos continues here with zero appearance from him in this film. Other trivia here: this is the first Pixar movie where an on-screen character breaks the fourth wall to narrate. The two panda statues outside the temple are called Bart and Lisa, after, of course, The Simpsons. The bunny from the Disney short Burrow appears on Malin's notebook, a little bunny rabbit there. A sign with Disney's Bao short film logo can be seen when May is traveling through Toronto, basically when she gets off the bus and is walking down the street at one point. This marks Ludwig Göransson's first musical score in an animated feature film, after previously scoring Walt Disney Animation Studios' short film Inner Workings in 2016 and producing songs for DreamWorks Animation Trolls 2 World Tour. So his first time doing a full music score. Of course, Ludwig Göransson, also known for his work on Childish Gambino albums, Community, Black Panther, the film, and The Mandalorian soundtrack, as well as I guess the Book of Boba Fett, those scores. So yeah, that's the trivia I've pulled in. So what did we think? I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. I've watched it a few times now. I watched it basically, once the weekend it came out, once or twice the weekend it came out, I think. And then I watched it another time, kind of had it also playing in the background, once or twice this week, in the lead up to this episode. I like, obviously this movie got a lot of a very bad review of this movie got a lot of traction pre-release, because it said something to the effect of, if you weren't a girl, a Chinese Canadian girl in 2002 who liked boy bands, I don't know how you're going to relate to this movie. It's like, I mean, it's a coming of age film. It's like, there's still plenty of touchstones in there. And yes, while I certainly can't relate to turning into a giant red panda, I can still find, a lot of similarities between May and myself, or May's relationships and my own. Most notably, as has kind of almost become a little bit of a trend in Disney Pixar stuff recently. The intense pressure that can be put on you from parents can certainly be overwhelming, and potentially if not universal, a very well known kind of experience, and well traveled experience, I think. And as I basically tweeted this out, I think, when I first watched the movie, but yeah, between this and Encanto, with like the themes of familial trauma kind of passed down generationally, and kind of overbearing mothers being the not big bad, because I wouldn't say these movies have big bads, but those being the biggest antagonists for our kind of protagonist characters. I almost miss the days where it was just a very clear cut, this is an evil witch kind of thing. These movies where it's a, grandmother or a mother who's, really kind of putting all this pressure on you to be something that you might not be anymore. It's a little too real, and a little like, if I'm watching movies to escape, this doesn't necessarily give me that all the time. So I think that's, I think that's not a bad thing at all. I think a lot of people will see themselves in May, and I think having that representation, let alone the, like, obviously it's the Asian heritage and the Chinese heritage of May is a very prominent feature, but also, like, we don't get a ton of like Canadian films about Canadian girls kind of thing. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it, and as somebody, Toronto 2002, while I was not in Canada or Toronto or anything like that, 2002 was my senior year of high school. I guess this was May 2002, so this would have been the end of my junior year in high school. So I'm only a couple years older than May here. And yeah, I think, like, as somebody who had a younger sister who is effectively probably May's age kind of thing, like, she was super into the NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and vicariously, as was I. Like, I enjoyed the music. I would dance around with her and do the NSYNC bye 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 kind of stuff, and watching a lot of MTV at the time. So there's definitely a like weird sense of nostalgia for that. I don't know if the music, if any of the songs really ever hit like the highs of anything comparable to, your Backstreet Boys, your NSYNC, or even your 98 Degrees and stuff like that. But it's, it serves its purpose. Those characters, it's not about the songs even. It's about the crushes that the girls have on those characters, and the bond that they have together through that music and through doing those dances in the classrooms and stuff like that on their old camcorders. So yeah, I really enjoyed that element of it, and it's a fun little time capsule thing. I don't think the dialogue necessarily always supports it. I feel like there's definitely a lot more 2020, 2022 dialogue in this film, compared to, the 2002 phrases and whatnot. But who cares? I will also say one of the maybe most refreshing things on this one was the like heavy anime influences in a lot of the animation choices. Be that Maylin breaking the fourth wall, be that the like super cute eyes and the hearts and stuff when when they see adorable things. A lot of the like single frame basically transitions to a thing, like a very quick cut to crazy imagery or emotions turning on a dime. Abby immediately flocking to May to get like her fluffy hug from the red panda because that'll give her fix or something like that. Like it just, I think, leaning into that and stepping away from like trying to make this like uber realistic or something like that, allows there to be a lot more fun and humor to this. I don't necessarily know if I enjoy the art style. That I feel like so much of this art style just reminds me of like a Wallace and Gromit. Obviously, like in the like very rounded mouths and stuff like that. Like I can never kind of unsee those elements, and I just don't really ever have like an affinity for that. So I think animation style wise, like that's a thing that jumps out at me is like not a necessarily a choice I would make, but I don't fault them for making it. And yeah, I think they just pour a ton of fun into this movie. Again, all of like the relationship between the girls, I think is a special thing, and I think it's a good thing to be showing, especially when you contrast this against like something like Mean Girls or something, which obviously satire and comedy and whatnot, but like just this relationship of these four friends just being like super diehard friends for one another, whose like their biggest conflict ends up being this really kind of moment of weakness from May, where she kind of lets her friends take the fall in her mom's eyes because she doesn't want to lose her mom's affection for her. But even that, like, she apologizes and they basically like they'd kind of already forgiven her, and we're taking care of Robert Jr. and stuff like that. So I think that's a really fun dynamic. I think conflict wise, I wish some of the decisions the mom made felt more natural, as opposed to like, I don't know any person who would not be self-aware enough to realize that coming to your daughter's school and screaming out, "Hey, I brought your pads," is not the most mortifying thing that a 13-year-old girl could experience. So yeah, I think that's like a weird element, and a lot of like the running, like driving to the what, like not Quickie Mart but whatever, to confront Devin over the drawings in May's notebook or something. Like, I think that's like super heightened beyond kind of a sense of reality, and obviously it's stupid to say like, oh, this isn't a realistic movie in a movie where it's basically the Incredible Hulk but cuter, as I've seen people talk about the film. So yeah, it's what it is. I just wish I feel like those were the moments that took me the most out of it, when the mom was reacting in a way that no self-aware adult would be, especially one who has fought so much to like stay in control of emotions or whatever. I just didn't feel like that was true to her character. But sure, it sets up funny gags and tension between May and her mom, as well as May and her hormones and all that stuff. Trying to think if there are any other giant standout moments. I mean, looks beautiful. Again, I think the creativity of a lot of the sequences, and like really leaning into anime, and like even May, transforming into a panda in front of the moon and stuff like that was just a cool, like a lot of cool visuals, and a lot of cool like screen grabs in this movie, of like, oh, that's a really cool shot, oh, that's a really cool shot, oh, that's a really cool shot. So shout out to a lot of that stuff. I definitely did not expect it to go the direction that it goes at the end, with the mom being basically a Godzilla style or Godzilla sized red panda. Obviously, we get the tee up from Jin earlier, but even that's, like even May says like, I didn't think it was that big, kind of thing. Back on another lovely animation thing that I want to give a shout out to, again, also tied to the anime, was I very much loved the introduction to the dad through the food, like this just incredible looking like cooking sequence that we get for 10 seconds of the movie or whatever. Because I love that element, and that, I think component of that I think of, when I think of like anime food kind of stuff or something. That was a great sequence. I did like all of the, while I didn't expect it to go that direction with the mom, I liked how it resolved with the grandmother and all of the aunts basically like breaking their various brooches and earrings and cufflinks or whatever to release their personal pandas and save the mom. I thought that was a nice little bit. Like there was definitely I think the most similar Pixar film that I think of when I think of Turning Red was Brave, just because of how it plays a lot with that, like the transformation in Brave. It's the mom turning into the bear, and that mother-daughter relationship and the tension and the stress between them. I think this is almost the inverse of that. It is the daughter, turning into a creature, and having to deal with that while also trying to keep good in her mother's graces. But there's also just so much joy in the silly little moments of this film. A lot of that being in the montage and stuff, like, the party. Once the party gets going, I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. And the little boy girl party at Tyler's. Again, all of the con, not even the con, but like the money-making scheme of let's use the fact that May can turn into this panda kind of at will. Let's make some money off that. I loved those little kind of moments and vignettes that we got through that. And again, I think one of the best parts of that was these moments that Jin calls back to later, of the girls just dancing and May kind of going in and out of her panda form, doing the choreography and clumsily kind of tripping into people and stuff like that. And they're just having the time of their lives. It's high school. Yes, there are, larger than life emotions associated with that, but for moments in this movie, it's just girls having fun and being friends, and shout out to that. That was really cool. So I think that's about it in terms of the kind of bullet points and highlights I wanted to touch on for Turning Red myself. I really enjoyed it. I don't know where this would fall in the hierarchy of like my Pixar rankings or something, but while it's still fresh, I had a good time with it. And I love this just kind of continued pursuit of telling stories with representation, and I hope Pixar continues getting to do that, and I hope Disney lets them. It doesn't doesn't hold them back, as some reports have suggested they do sometimes. I give Turning Red a solid A. I really had a good time with it. It's, I think, a solid movie for representation. I think this is a great movie for kids to get to see and get to grow up with. So shout out to Turning Red. some extra credit, other suggestions if you like this one. Up first is Embrace the Panda, Making Turning Red. It's like a little 20-minute kind of behind the scenes / making of, featuring interviews with Domi Shi and other members of the Making or Turning Red team. Brave, as I alluded to, obviously another heavy influence on this one. Onward is up there. Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, and The Incredibles 1. And I will also just throw out there to check out Bao. It's one of my favorite Pixar shorts. I remember getting to see that and being like, that was a really special little few minutes kind of thing. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Domi Shi went and won awards for that, and then is continuing on her legacy over there at Pixar. Extracurriculars, what are you watching on Disney Plus? As alluded to last week, I'm continuing to keep up with Moon Knight. I enjoyed episode 2 this week. Looking forward to seeing kind of where that series kind of continues to twist and turn. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of That D Plus Show. Thank you for joining me to hear me talk about Turning Red. Hopefully at least one of my colleagues will be back next week for Luca. I know Frank in particular really wanted to do that one, so I hope he can join me for that one. Yeah, you can follow me at Trevor J. Starkey on Twitter. In addition to this, again, I said all month long we're going to be doing Pixar stuff. I will also give a shout out to tomorrow's, if you're listening to this the day this goes live, tomorrow's That Bond Show over on youtube.com/thatnerdysite. We are finally in the Timothy Dalton era with the Living Daylights this week, so check that out for mine and Logan's thoughts on that. I'll give you a spoiler. I really enjoyed it. I really did not like the Roger Moore era by the end, so I'm really glad to be away from that at this point. And then also I'll give a shout out to the Let's Plays this week on that youtube.com/thatnerdysite in honor of Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga coming out. I did an episode 1 Racer Let's Play on Tuesday, and then kind of my first first level of Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga on Thursday. So go check all that stuff out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thatnerdysite. Once again, if you liked what you heard, please rate, review, like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that fun stuff. Find everything we do over at That Nerdy Site, or go to thatnerdysite.com for all the latest from us. Once again, thank you for joining me. As always, stay nerdy, be good to each other, and class dismissed.